If you've ever tried to learn from a prolific trader like Moneytaur, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're trying to drink from a fire hose, right? Charts, posts, concepts, it's just endless. It's so easy to get lost. So the goal of this whole explainer is to cut through all that noise and give you a real, structured path, a way to go from just being a collector of information to becoming a true decoder of the skill. Okay, let's dive right in.
So let's start with maybe the most important question you can ask yourself on this journey. Are you a collector or are you a decoder? See, a collector just gathers everything they can find. They're hoping that just having a massive amount of information will somehow magically turn into skill. But a decoder? Well, they know that real understanding comes from deep, focused analysis. And that one little distinction, that's the key to making any real progress.
And this leads us right into what you could call the collector's trap. It's this super common, totally human thing we do where we mistake activity for actual progress. You spend hours saving charts, bookmarking tweets, scrolling through feeds. You feel so productive. You feel busy, but are you actually getting any better? And more often than not, the honest answer is no.
This quote just captures that misunderstanding perfectly. It's from a student who had that light bulb moment where they realized they were optimizing for the completely wrong thing. The belief is that speed and quantity are the secret. If I just see more charts, if I'm always up to the second, I'll become profitable faster. But honestly, that whole idea is flawed right from the get-go.
Okay, so here's the difference in a nutshell. The collector, over on the left, is all about speed. Their main action is just gathering stuff, which, leaves them feeling productive. But then you look at the decoder on the right. They optimize for accuracy. Their core action is to constantly, relentlessly ask why. And the result isn't just a feeling, it's actual tangible progress. Big difference.
So how do you make that leap? Well, it all starts with adopting the decoder's mindset. This right here is the crucial turning point. It's a fundamental shift in what your goal is, moving away from that collector's obsession with speed and focusing instead on precision and deep, real understanding.
And this quote, man, it really says it all. Real, deep learning is supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to stretch you. If what you're doing feels easy, you're probably just collecting. Decoding means you have to wrestle with concepts you don't get right away. It means accepting that this is a long-term game of building a skill, not some get-rich-quick sprint.
And this is what that uncomfortable work actually looks like. A decoder doesn't just glance at a chart and copy it. They interrogate it. They question every single decision that was made. Why this specific level and not the one right next to it? Why that order block? Why did he anchor the Fibonacci tool from this exact point? The answers to those questions, that's where the learning really is.
Now think about it. You can't decode some advanced text if you don't even know the alphabet, and that is exactly what's going on here. Before you can ever hope to understand Moneytaur's advanced charts, you absolutely have to build a rock-solid foundation in the basic concepts. You gotta learn the language before you try to read the book. So what's the right way to do this? Well, experienced students are very clear about it. They recommend a two-step process. First, learn the fundamentals of smart money concepts, SMC, which is all about tracking institutional moves. Master those basics first. Then, and only then, as a second step, should you dive into Moneytaur's work. With that foundation, all his advanced ideas will actually start to make sense.
And what does that foundation look like? Well, these are the core concepts that Moneytaur himself says are essential. You need to really understand liquidity, Fibonacci levels, market structure, fair value gaps, and so on. This is the vocabulary you need to have down cold to even begin to grasp how the big players, the algorithms and market makers, actually operate.
Okay, so you've shifted your mindset and you started building your foundation. Now what? Now we get to the practical, actionable stuff. This is the decoding methodology itself, a real step-by-step guide to analysis.
The process is actually pretty simple, but it's demanding. Step 1, focus. Pick just one chart. Forget the endless feed, just one. Step 2, recreate it yourself, pixel for pixel. Your goal is 100% accuracy. And then step 3, question everything. This whole method turns passive viewing into an active, really powerful learning exercise.
And here, this is what that decoding process looks like in the real world. This is a student's actual workspace. And notice they've built a whole point system to grade their own accuracy. They're not just looking at charts. They are meticulously tracking their progress on every single detail. Every zone, every trend line becomes a metric.
This is someone who has truly, genuinely shifted from speed to precision.
Decoding and analysis are absolutely critical, but they're really only half the battle. True mastery only comes when you move from theory to practice. You have to take everything you've learned from those charts and apply it in the live market to actually forge it into a real, usable skill.
And this is a really crucial point. You have to move beyond paper trading. The source material is super clear on this. Using real money, even just a tiny amount, fundamentally changes the entire game. And why is that? Because it forces you to deal with the real emotions of trading. Fear, greed, impatience. That psychological experience is something you just cannot simulate.
So here's your first actionable goal for you, 100. The recommendation is to take a small budget and journal your first 100 trades. Now, the goal here is not to get rich. The goal is to build a data set, your own personal record of decisions, outcomes, and emotions that you can actually go back and analyze.
And this right here, this process, is what makes those 100 trades so incredibly valuable. It's a constant feedback loop. When a trade works, you figure out exactly why. When it fails, and this is probably the most important part, you have to dig deep to find the root cause. Then you reflect on that journal all the time. Get rid of the strategies that consistently fail, and you double down on what works. This is literally how you systematically get better.
But look, none of this is going to happen overnight. It's so important to have realistic expectations. With consistent, hard effort, you might start seeing significant progress in about 6 months. You should really treat your entire first year as a learning process, where your budget is basically tuition, not an investment. And according to the sources, the average time it takes to achieve true consistency is about 3 years. It really is a marathon.
And I think this quote from Moneytaur just perfectly captures the whole journey. Everyone is looking for that magical aha moment, that one secret that's going to unlock everything. But the secret isn't a secret at all. It's buried in the thousands of hours of diligent and often frustrating work that you just haven't put in yet.
So we'll end on this final, really powerful thought. Real mastery isn't about being handed the answers or finding some kind of shortcut. It demands that you develop the skill to solve the entire puzzle completely on your own. It's about taking full ownership of your learning, embracing the grind, and becoming a true decoder. There are no shortcuts.